Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna. Good
Hare
morning.
Krishna, Krishna Ram
Just
Ram.
introducing a few ideas from Srila Prabhupada's writings about the importance of chanting the holy name at intervals during this session to keep the mind focused on the goal. And from the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes, it is said that this age of Kali is 3/4 devoid of religious principles. Hardly 1/4 of the principles of religion are still observed in this age. But, by the mercy of Lord Krishna, this vacancy of Kali Yuga has not only been completely filled, but the religious process has been made so easy that simply by rendering transcendental loving service unto Lord Krishna by chanting his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one can achieve the highest result of religion, namely being transferred to the highest planet within the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. So taking time to chant japa is the most important of all activities that one can do every single day, and positions one to go directly back to the spiritual world. Gaur Premanande Haribo.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Sit properly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram. Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Krishna Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram 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 Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare 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 Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Sit properly. Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna. Here's some more nectar to fill your ears with about the glories of the holy name from the Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto. The Vishnu Dutas to the Yamadutas. As a fire burns dry grass to ashes, so the holy name of the Lord, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly, burns to ashes without fail all the reactions of one's sinful activities. If a person unaware of the effective potency of a certain medicine takes that medicine or is forced to take it, it will act even without his knowledge, because its potency does not depend on the patient's understanding. Similarly, even though one does not know the value of chanting the holy name of the Lord, if one chants knowingly or unknowingly, the chanting will be very effective. Purport: fire will act, regardless of whether handled by an innocent child or by someone well aware of its power. For example, if a field of straw or dry grass is set afire, either by an elderly man who knows the power of fire or by a child who does not, the grass will be burned to ashes. Similarly, one may or may not know the power of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but if one chants the holy name, he will become free from all sinful reactions. In the Western countries where the Hare Krishna movement is spreading, learned scholars and other thoughtful men are realizing its effectiveness. For example, Dr. J. Stilson Judah, a learned scholar, has been very much attracted to this movement because he has actually seen that it is turning hippies addicted to drugs into pure Vaishnavas who voluntarily become servants of Krishna and humanity. Even a few years ago, such hippies did not know the Hare Krishna mantra. Now they are chanting it and becoming pure Vaishnavas. Thus, they are becoming free from all sinful activities such as illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. This is practical proof of the effectiveness of the Hare Krishna movement, which is supported in this verse. One may or may not know the value of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, but if one somehow or other chants it, he will immediately be purified, just as one who takes a potent medicine will feel its effects, regardless of whether he takes it knowingly or unknowingly. Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram. Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna. Just like to hear any observations or realizations that any of you are having from chanting your daily japa. Observations about your chanting or the process or realizations that you get.
I was recently told from my mentor that, like, if you're chanting and you've lost the taste for chanting, then you should chant louder. And today I kind of tested that, and I felt I was able to focus more, because whenever like my mind would run off and try to think about other things, I could hear the Maha Mantra because I was chanting it louder than usual. So I thought that's something that can help me move on.
I've recently found that when you're going through a hard time, every mantra just means more. Like every word you say, it just matters more than when you're happy and going through a good time. And my Maharaj told me that Krishna is like the reservoir of all happiness. So if you chant clearly, then there's no way you can be unhappy, and you'll be able to get through whatever you're going through. So yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. We heard from you today that just like fire acts, even if one doesn't know how fire can act, the fire nevertheless acts. Similarly, what I found was if I just continue doing, even if I sometimes don't, without knowing or not knowing, if I just continue doing every day, then continue chanting every day. So then, just like in the verse, Bhakti Pareshan Bhava Viraktir, so you can see that it has its effect.
Hare Krishna. I really liked Maharaj when you said when you read in the beginning about the four legs of dharma, 3 of them are gone, and there is a vacancy there, and that vacancy gets filled by the holy name. So I was thinking of that, even in our lives there is a lot of vacant moments, and if you could fill those with the Hare Krishna mantra, even if you are doing some mundane thing on the computer, you could still be thinking and chanting in the backgrounds like that.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I was just thinking about the same point that Sweka was saying, that how by chanting clearly when we are in life situations, it matters more when we are in difficulty. But sometimes what happens is, even in that difficulty, when your mind gets too much into that problem, then when we chant, I was just chanting, but my mind was thinking of the problem, and then my Prabhu was saying, you are missing one Krishna. I didn't even know that. I just want to get my rounds done and then solve the problem. So I was just thinking that making the sankalpa before chanting, that this is what I'm going to do, this is why I'm going to do. So that really tells the mind that everything else should go away. At least after some time it stops. So I was just realizing about that. Thank you.
When I chant, I usually chant in the car, and that's bad because I usually look out the window and I don't focus. So when I don't focus, my rounds get boring. So I recently started focusing on what I was saying, not what's outside the window, and I found my rounds a lot more interesting.
It's important to have absorption, because unless the mind is absorbed, then it becomes boring and it's easy to stop. But if one takes the extra work to actually concentrate and focus on the holy name, it can become fascinating. One can be in rapture. And I wanted to mention also that recently I extracted a quote from the 7th canto of Prabhupada's purport, where he said that you should fulfill all your desires by surrendering to Krishna. In other words, if you have any kind of need or desire, so the best way to fulfill it is to completely surrender to Krishna. And the same is true with problems. Whatever problems are there, and they'll be there one after another, the best way to solve them is really to surrender to Krishna, because he's the only one who actually can deal with it. Nobody else can solve the problems, and we know that. You go to anybody and say, hey, this is going wrong, and they'll go like, hey, too bad. Sorry for your loss. But Krishna is the one who can actually deal with it, and the best way to do that is really to take refuge in the holy name. So it's so important to surrender to the process of chanting japa especially. It's so personal, and it's the way to solve all problems and to fulfill all desires also. One last one.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So recently I actually tried to improve my chanting. So I was chanting very fast, and my chanting was completing before 2 hours. So I focused like, am I missing something? And also when I was trying to focus more, sometimes like after 4 or 6 rounds, I was getting sleepy, actually, like drowsiness. So like then I again thought that how to improve that, because what is missing in my chanting, which is pulling me. So like then I try to focus more on every words, and then like it actually replicates the same thing you said, like it when you observe your mind on chanting, then it will get engaged, and everything will go as per process. So that was my observation actually from my chanting.
Hare Krishna. Here's one last quote to leave you with. And thank you everyone for joining the Japa Circle today. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 6th Canto. Ajamil continued, I am a shameless cheater who has killed his Brahminical culture. Indeed, I am sin personified. Where am I in comparison to the all-auspicious chanting of the holy name of Lord Narayan? I am such a sinful person, but since I have now gotten this opportunity, I must completely control my mind, life, and senses, and always engage in devotional service, so that I may not fall again into the deep darkness and ignorance of material life. Purport: those engaged in broadcasting the holy name of Narayan, Krishna, through the Krishna consciousness movement should always consider what our position was before we came and what it is now. We had fallen into abominable lives as meat-eaters, drunkards, and women hunters who performed all kinds of sinful activities. But now we have been given the opportunity to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore, we should always appreciate this opportunity. By the grace of the Lord, we are opening many branches, and we should use this good fortune to chant the holy name of the Lord and serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. We must be conscious of the difference between our present and past conditions, and should always be very careful not to fall from the most exalted life. Every one of us should have this determination. We have been elevated to an exalted position by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master, and if we remember that this is a great opportunity and pray to Krishna, that we will not fall again. Our lives will be successful. Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vanshakopadarushya Kripasindabe Vachapatitanam. Jaya Radha Gopinatha Radha Gopinatha Radhe. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Radhe. Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe. Madan Mohan Radhe.
Kandar ako ikamaniya Visesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Purusham Namaham
Yasomati Nandana Brajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kanda Gokula Ranjana Kana Gopi Paranadana Madana Manohara Gopi Paranadhana Madana Manohara Kaliya Damana Vidana Kaliya Damana Vidana Amalaharinam Mamiyabilasa Amalaharinam Mamiyabilasa Vipina Purandara Navinana Garavara Vipina Purandara Navinana Garavara Vamshivadana Suvasa Vamshivadana Suvasa Vamshivadana Suvasa Vrajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Vrajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Nanda Godhana Rakowala Nanda Godhana Rakowala Govinda Madhava Navanita Tashara Govinda Madhava Navanita Tashara Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Jamuna Tattachara Gopi Vasanahara Jamuna Tattachara Gopi Vasanahara Rasarasika Kripa Moya Rasarasika Kripa Moya Shirara Balaba Vrindavana Natavara Shirara Balaba Vrindavana Natavara Bhakati Vinodashaya Bhakati Vinodashaya Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabara Shri Radha Vallabha Vrindavana Nattabara Bhakati Vinodashaya Bhakati Vinodashaya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Ujjvala Varana Gauravara Deham Nivasita Nilasati Bhavavideham Ujjvala Varana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravari Ujjvala Varana Gauravara Deham Vilasita Niravari Bhavavideham Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Gadgaram Tara Bhava Vikaram Durjana Tarjana Nada Vishalam Bhavabhaya Bhajana Karana Karunam Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Arunam Bharadara Charu Kapolam Indu Venindita Nakachaya Ruchiram Jalpita Nijaguna Nama Vinodham Tam Pranamami Cha Shri Sachitanayam Vigalita Nayana Kamala Jaladaram Bhushana Navarasa Bhava Vikaram Gatiyati mantara nritya vilasam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Chanchara charu charana gati ruchiram Manjira ranjita pada juga maduram. Chandra vinindita shitala varanam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Jita kati dora kamandalu dandam Divya kalevara mundita mundam. Durjana kalmasha khandana dandam tam pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Bhushana Buraja Alaka Valditam Kampita Bindara Vara Ruchiram. Malaya Javira Chitta Ujvala Tilakam Tam Pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari Ki Jai. Nindi Taruna Kamala Dalanayanam Ajarulambita Shri Bhujajugalam. Kalevara Kaishora Nartaka Vesham Tam Pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Ujjvala Varana Gaura Deham Vilasita Niravadi Bhava Videham. Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Tribhuvana Pavana Kripaya Lesham Tam Pranamami cha Shri Sachitanayam. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari. Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Sachinandana, Jaya Gaura Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Give me that new Hindi bhajan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. That new Hindi bhajan. Hindi bhajan. Yeah, the Hindi bhajan. Hindi bhajan. Hare. Yeah. Krishna jinka naam hai, Gokula jinka dham hai. I say Shri Bhagavan ko mere barambara pranam hai. Yashoda jinka maiya hai, Nanda jiva paya hai. I say Shri Gopala ko mere barambara pranam hai. Radha jinka jaya hai, Adbhuta jinka maya hai. I say Shri Ghanashyama ko mere barambara pranam hai. Luta luta dadi makana kayo, Gwala bala sanga denu charayo. I say Leela Dhamma ko mere barambara pranam hai. Drupada Sutta ko laja bachayo, Graha se gaja ko panda chudayo. I say Kripa Dhamma ko mere barambara pranam hai. Kuru Pandava ko Judavamachayo, Arjuna ko Upadesha Shunayo. I say Dinanatha ko mere barambara pranam hai. Bajare hey, Bhaja Govinda Gopala Hare. Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Radhe Govinda, Radhe Gopala, Aise Shri Bhagavan ko mere barambara pranam hai. Aise Shri Bhagavan ko mere barambara pranam hai. Aise Shri Bhagavan ko mere barambara pranam hai. Hey, go Premanande, Radhe Sham Sham Sham, Radhe Sham Sham. Radhe Sham Sham Sham, Radhe. Ding. Radhe Sham Sham Sham. Jaya Madhava Mandana Radhe Radhe Sham Sham Sham. Jaya Madhava Mandana Radhe Radhe. Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hare Radhe Sham Sham Sham. Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hare Radhe. There it is. Jaya Madhava Madana Radhe Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hare Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Sundara Kundala Nayana Vishala Galai Sohai Vaijanti Mala. Ye Chaviki Bali Hari Radhe Sham Shama Sham. Jaya Madhava Madana Radhe Radhe Sham Shama Sham. Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hare Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Kabuhun luta luta dadhi kayo, Kabuhun maruvana rasara chayo. Nachata Vipina Vihare Radhe Sham Shama Sham. Nachata Vipina Gwala Bala Sanga Denu Charai Vana Vana Brahmata Pire Jarurai. Khande Kamara Kari Radhe Sham Shama Sham. Chura chura navanita chokayo, Vrajavanita napaina madurayo. Vrajavanita Makana chora, Radhe Radhe Sham, Shama Sham. Jaya Madhava Madana Murade Radhe Sham, Shama Sham. Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hare Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Ekadina manda Indra Komaryo, Naka Upara Govardhana Daryo. Nampadayo Giridhare Radhe Sham, Shama Sham. Duryodhana ko bhoga nakayo, Ruka saga vidura gharadhayo. I say prema prujari Radhe Sham, Shama Sham. Karunakara Drupadi Pukari, Patalipata Gaivanavari. Nirakarahi Nara Nari Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Jaya Madhava Madana Murari Radhe Sham, Shama Sham. Jaya Keshava Kalimala Hare Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Bhakta Bhakta Sabatamana Tare, Bina Bhakti Hamatare Dware. Lijo Kabara Hamare Radhe Sham, Shama Sham. Arjuna ke ratta hankara hare, Gita ke upadesha tumhare. Chakra sudarshana dari Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Chakra sudarshana Jaya Madhava Madana Murari Radhe Shama Shama Sham. Jaya Keshava Kalimalahari Radhe Shama Shama Sham Shama Shama Sham Go Premanande Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotaras Shishimad Abhay Charanada Vinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivrajagacharya Stotaras Shishimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Anantakoti Vaishnavini Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Premzagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dhamadip Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Jamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. All glories to some devotees. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Radhe Shama Shama Sham Ma Sham Chura Chura Hare Krishna. My dear Srila Prabhupada, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Srimad Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev. If you so desire, please let Avantika remember your lotus feet constantly while you take your SATs. May you score 1600. Thank you for considering our request. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Pallava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Pallava Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janadanjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janadanjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janadanjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janadanjana Jamunatira Vana Chari Jamunatidavana Chari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaura Premanande. Actually, any advancement in Krishna consciousness takes place by the special mercy of Krishna. Ata pite deva padam bhujaya baya leshana grihita eva hi. Ata pite deva padam bhuja dvaya prasada leshana grihita eva hi. Prasada lesha. If someone can get just a trace, a lesha of prasad, of the Lord's favor, prasada leshana grihita eva hi. Janati tatvam bhagavan mahim no nachanya eko picharam vachinvan. Then one can understand Krishna by his grace. However, if one tries to use one's own faculties, intellectual or sensual faculties, then it's impossible to understand Krishna. So I was appreciating how wherever one goes, wherever I go, I see in spiritual circles that those who have the wherewithal to sit down tight and hear Krishna Katha, they have a seat, this preferred seat that they sit in. They come and they sit in the same seat every time, and they're there just to hear. That's the method through which the prasad enters one's heart and enters one's life in a profound way and affects everything. Lord Brahma, in his prayers to Krishna, says, what's the verse? Get the books. Stane stita shudikatam tanavan manobir ye prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokyam gyane prayasam urapasya namanta eva jivanti san mukharitam vadiyavartam stane stita shudikatam tanavan manobir ye prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokyam. So Brahma says, and he's the most intelligent, that don't try to understand Krishna by your intellect. Give up any kind of speculation, but do find a seat. Sthane stita. Stita means to stay in one's position, or it means to find a place to sit. It's tight. Sit tight. Find your seat. Where there's Krishna Katha going on, get a seat in that assembly and you sit there. And you come day after day, week after week, and listen. And if you do that, sthane stita shruti katam, just hear, shruti katam tanuvan manobir, and you worship that sound vibration with your body, mind, and words. Worship it. Then, such a person will come to the perfect stage just by hearing. Jita jito means that person will be able to conquer the unconquerable. Krishna becomes, according to the Bhagavatam, embedded in the heart of somebody who submissively listens to Bhagavad Gita. Dharma projita kaitavotra paramo nirmatsaranam satam vedyam vastavam atra shivanam tapun trayun mulanam. Such kata uproots the threefold miseries. There's no other way. You can't solve it by trying to figure it out or trying to get an attorney or get a psychologist. Although, sometimes you need an attorney or a psychologist, but it's not going to fix it completely. Tapam Trayamun Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krim Kim Va Prayarishvaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudyate Trakriti Bishu Shushubish Takshanad. So this is Sadyo Hridyavarudyate. Means that when you hear Bhagavatam submissively, then Krishna becomes established in your heart. You're sitting down tight in one spot. You choose your seat, you're always there. And then Krishna will choose his seat. And that's in your heart. He won't move. That's what it means. Sadyo Hridyavarudyate. It's very poetical, but very profound. It's saying Krishna sits down, he won't leave you. Because you're hearing Bhagavad Gita. In fact, even if you hear once, he won't leave now. You hear what to speak of day after day, week after week. You choose your seat, you sit there, you won't move, and you're attentive, you're submissive to hearing the sound. You worship it with your body, mind. And you bow your head before that message, because you know it's coming from a divine source. Tadvag visago janataga viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhadyavadyapi namanyanantasya yashon kitaniyan shrinvanti gayanti grananti sarava shrinvanti gayanti grananti sarava. This message, which is not from this world, it's from a different world altogether. Tadvag visago janataga. It's from another creation. It's not from the material world. Shrinvanti gayanti. Those people who are thoroughly honest with themselves that, hey, look I made a wrong turn. I'm in the material world. And I need to surrender to Krishna. And they listen. Shrinvanti gayanti. They hear it. They sing it. Grananti. They accept it. Sadhava. These are the sadhus. So those people, they go on hearing and chanting. And the message itself, not only does it affect those people who are sitting down tight to hear it, but everybody else will get affected by it also. There'll be a radiance coming from those who hear it, and the sound vibration will spill out into human society. What to speak of those who propagate it? That's their business. What do? I sell Bhagavatam. And we were thinking last night, Nirkula was thinking about how Krishna comes whenever he wants to this material world. He makes his avatar. So it's mentioned that the Bhagavatam is an avatar of Krishna. He's just appeared recently. But Krishna can appear whenever he wants. It's not that he always appears at every second. But we were thinking last night that it's remarkable that we're here right when he's made his avatar as the Bhagavatam. He appeared as the Bhagavatam, but now it's so available by Prabhupada. Prabhupada made it manifest deliberately. He took the ship from the docks in Calcutta on the Ganges, and then it went out into the ocean. He came across, and the whole way, this intention was, he wrote down his intention and make sure the Bhagavatam gets out to everybody. And Little did his wife know how into the Bhagavatam he was. When she got rid of his Bhagavatam, he said, "That's it, I'm out." So I just sold it for something. We needed the money. It's like, okay, goodbye. We're here at the time when Bhagavatam is, you can pick up a phone or get on the Skype and you can say, "Please give me 1,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam, all 12 cantos." And it'll be there within a week. And so that is an opportunity that can't be missed. And to hear Bhagavatam and to distribute Bhagavatam, this is the main occupation for those who are in the know about the ultimate, attaining the ultimate purpose of life. Hare Krishna. You can say Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Divinity and Divine Service. Divinity and Divine Service. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now, a worthy occupation for those who like to challenge themselves is to memorize the second chapter of the Bhagavatam, Divinity and Divine Service. Because if you memorize this chapter, then when you go back to Godhead, if somebody questions you, "Do you know the second chapter of the Bhagavatam?" They say, "Yeah, I know the whole thing. I learned it at ISV." And they'll go, "Okay, you can come in." That's Canto 2. Although that's nice too, we can also do those chapters. But this chapter, Divinity and Divine Service, I think you can do it in Russian. Advanced view because you're all advanced. Yasuvacha iti samprashna sambrishto vipranam romaharshani pratipuja vachastesham pravaktum upachakrame. Is that too low? Is it all right for all? Yam tuvacha yam pravajantam anupetam apeta krityam Dvaipayano viraha kartara ajuhava putreti tan mayataya taravo binedus tam sarva bhuta hridayam munim anatosmi yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam adyatma deepam atitirshatam tamondam samsarinam karunayaha purana kuhyam Tam vyasa sunum upayami gurum muninam Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam Devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet Munaya sadhu prishtoham pavadbhir lokamangalam Yakrita krishna samprashno Inatma suprasidati Savai pumsam paro dharmo Yato bhakti radhoksaje Ahaitu kya pratyata Yatma suprasidati Vasudeve bhagavati Bhakti yoga prayojitaha Janayat yashuvairagyam Yanam cha yadahaitukam Dharma svanushtita pumsam Vishvaksena katasuya Notpada yed yadiratim Shrama eva hi kevalam Dharmasya hyapavargasya Nartortayopakalpate Nartasya dharmaikantasya Kamalabhaya hi smritaha Kamasya nendriya pritir labo jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jiknyasa narto yashcheha karmabhihi vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam rameti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate tachadadhana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pasyantyatmani chatmanam bhaktya shuta grihitaya ata pumbir dvija shreshta varnashrama vibhagashaha shvanushtistasya dharmasya sangsadhir haritoshanam tasmadekena manasa bhagavan sattvatam pati Shrotavya kirtitavyascha dhyaya pujascha nityada yad anudyasina yukta karma granti nibandanam chindanti govidastasya kona kuryat kataratim shushushoshodadhanasya vasudeva kataruchihi syan mahatsevaya vipra Punyatirtha Nashevanan Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridyantaksto Hyapadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Nashtapraeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Tararajastamo bhava kamaloba dayaschaye cheta etera navidham stitam sattve prasidati evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangasya jayate vidyate hridaya grantish Chijante sarva samshaya shiyante chasya karmani Krishtevatmanishvare Atovai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya muda Vasudeve bhagavati kurvantyatma prasadanim Sattvam rajastamayiti prakritir gunastar Yukta pada purusha eka ihasya date Stityadeye hari varinshi hareti samja Sheyamsi tatra kalu sattva tanor nrinam suhu Partivadharano dumas tasmadagnistrayimayaha Tamasastu rajastasmat sattvam yad pramadarshanam Bejire munayo tagre bhagavantam adhoksajam sattvam vishudham shemaya kalpante yenutanaha mumukshavo kaura rupan hitva bhuta patinata narayana shanta bhajanti hyanasuyava rajastama prakritaya Samashila bhajanti vai pitrir bhuta prajeshadin Shiyaishvarya prajepsavaha Vasudeva paraveda Vasudeva paramakaha Vasudeva parayoga Vasudeva parakriyaha Vasudeva param jnanam Vasudeva param tapaha Vasudeva paro dharmo Vasudeva paragatihi Sa evedam sasarjagre Vogavanat mamayaya Sarasadrupaya chaso Gunamaya guno vibhu Taya vilastiteshveshu Guneshu gunavaniva Antak pravishta abhati Vignanena vrajrimbritaha Yata yavahito vanir Darushveka swayonishu Naneva bhati vishvatma Bhuteshu cha tata puman Asau gunamayer bhavir bhuta sukshmendriya mabihi swanirmiteshu nirvishto punkte bhuteshu tadgunan bhavayat yesha satvena lokan vailuka bhavana Lilava-taranurato devatiryanararishu. Do you have the colophon? We should make a PBT with a colophon. It's somewhere, right? Okay, let's see the English. See, if you do that once a day, chant that chapter once a day, there's no telling what might happen. Except for Prabhupada in Hawaii, said that if you chant one chapter of Bhagavatam every day, then you'll go back home, back to Godhead. And then he asked everybody, will you do it? And they said, yes, Prabhupada. And then he asked 2 more times. And my sister Bhavacharini told me, actually, she told everybody, it's on the memory tapes. She said, Prabhupada asked 3 times, and everyone said, yes, Prabhupada. And she said that was an amazing offer, that if you just chant 1 chapter of Bhagavatam a day, you'll go back to Godhead. She said, even more amazing was nobody did it. So these things are there for the taking. Anyone who decides, in the Nectar of Instruction, it is said that, Rupa Goswami quotes this from one of the Smriti Shastras, said, if you decide that you want to take your bath in the confluence of the Ganges, Jamuna, and Saraswati during the month of Magh, have you ever been in the confluence during the month of Magh? It's called Magh Mela. I went there. It's foggy and freezing cold. There's barely anybody there. But we went and we took our bath anyway. Freezing cold, and you get out and it's even colder because it's foggy. But if you decide that's what you're going to do, and that's what we did, I went with my godbrothers Gokula Chandra and Madhavananda, and we took a train and then a taxi, and we got there, put our bags at the Gaudiya Mat, and we went down there, and we did it because nobody could stop us. And so Nectar of Devotion says, if you decide that you're going to take your bath at the confluence of the Ganges, Jamuna, and Saraswati during the month of Magh, who can stop you? It's up to you. So he's pointing this out in context. He's pointing out that if you decide you're going to do devotional service, if you decide you're going to surrender to Krishna, if you decide you're going to chant a chapter of Bhagavatam every day, that's up to you. You're an independent soul. You can decide to do as much as you like to serve Krishna. Isn't that exciting? Okay. Together. Ugrashrava, Suta Goswami, the son of Romaharshan, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of the Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempted to reply. Gita Priya, tell us what some of the questions of the Brahmanas were. Give her the mic. If you can't figure it out, then call a friend. What did the Brahmanas ask? He's saying he's satisfied by the questions of the Brahmanas, the perfect questions of the Brahmana. What did the Brahmanas ask? They asked several questions, 6 questions altogether. Uh-oh, that mic's not on. This is disaster.
Here, green microphone.
The Brahmanas asked many questions, and some of them were regarding what is like the purpose of life, and how can we make the best use of this life in the age of Kali, and how the Lord, how can we remember Krishna? And
you sure about that? If you're going to make a statement, make it definitively, and if it's wrong, you can go down in flames. Okay, let's look at it. Go back to chapter 1. You're going to look at the questions the Brahmanas asked. They asked 6 questions, and the questions are then spoken about throughout the Bhagavatam. 111, please. Go 114, actually. The first chapter is called Questions by the Sages. Who are they asking the questions to? How did he get there? Huh? How did Sutta Goswami get there? Anushri. Who was there before him? At Kurukshetra. Excuse me, at Naimisharanya. Ask your friends. Say it. She said it. Fix the yellow mic, please. There it is.
Romaharshana.
Correct. If you hear from authority, even if you're not sure what you're saying, you're still right. Romaharshan. Romaharshan was there, and actually I just received from our pundit in the UK a chronology. Somebody asked the question the other day in New York, and I didn't give a very good answer, about the chronology of how, when Balaram came. He gave me the exact year and month. He researched it from the Padma Purana. I'll share it with everybody. And this Balaram came to Naimisharanya, and Romaharshan was still sitting on the Vyasasana, ready to address the sages. But Romaharshan didn't stand up to offer respects to Balaram. So Balaram could detect that he was wrong for the job, because he didn't understand that the whole thing is about surrendering to Krishna. So there he is. He's Krishna. I mean, his first expansion, same thing. And then Romaharshan kept sitting on the seat. He didn't move. Didn't offer any pranam when Balaramaji came there. Everybody else did. And then Balaram noticed, this guy is puffed up. And so he killed him. He took a kusha straw and he went boom, and Romaharshan's dead. And now all the sages said, but wait, Balaram, Prabhu, we gave him a benediction that he'd have a long life. Our benedictions shouldn't go in vain. So then they decided that they would transfer the benediction to Romaharshan's son, Sutta Goswami. So they transferred it to him, and they put him on the seat. And what was Sutta Goswami's qualification, according to the Bhagavatam? Why was he qualified? Move to the verse, Veta tvam saumya tatva sarvam tatvatas tadanugrahat bruyu snigdasya shishyasya guravo guyamapyuta. What is that verse? Number? It's probably it's number 8. Go to number 8, 118. Here's why Sutta Goswami is qualified to sit on the Vyasasana. I'll say, please repeat. Veta tvam saumya tat sarvam tatvatas tadanugrahat bruyu snigdhasya shishyasya guravo kuhyam apyuta. Veta, you are well conversant. Tvam, your honor. Saumya, one who is pure and simple. So to understand the science of Krishna consciousness, one must have a PhD. True or false? False. To understand the absolute truth, understanding the absolute truth is dependent on scholarship. True or false? Correct. What would you say, according to the few words we've heard so far, that it's based on? Being pure and simple, saumya, tat, those, sarvam, all, tatvata, in fact, tat, there, anugrahat, by the favor of, bruyu, will tell. Anugrahat. So graha means to grab, and anu means to follow. So there's a sense here, mercy, anugrahat. Somebody follows you and grabs you. Like they bring you to the truth. Anugrahat. There's this sense of this special mercy. It's mentioned in the Bhagavatam, Mayam Ragam Dayite Ipsitaman Vadavad. Karabhajan Muni says, 11th canto, that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Mayam Ragam Dayita, by mercy, Dayita, Mayam Ragam, the people in the age of Kali, says Karabhajan Muni, they're just like animals. Dvipadapashu. Somebody asked me that last night at Stanford. They said, is there any, it seems like the animals, they're actually kind of peaceful and happy living in the forest, and human beings aren't. So aren't animals superior? Did you ask that? So we had a long discussion about that. How Bhagavatam says, actually the Hitopadesh says that animals and human beings, ahara nidra bhayamaitanam cha, they all do these four things. They eat, sleep, mate, and defend. So animals eat, sleep, mate, and defend. Humans eat, sleep, and defend. But the only difference at all between animals and humans is that humans have dharma. They follow dharma. But, says the verse, it's an algebraic verse, but if the humans don't follow dharma, then what are they? Correct. It's algebra, right? So A plus B equals C. Anyway, the fact is that animals, like the other day I came in and I saw a little spider on my desk. I came in the door and I looked at him, and he looked at me. And he saw me there and he goes, I'm getting out of here. And I was like, yeah, you're pretty smart. Not that I was going to hurt him. I like spiders. But the fact is that, I could see he was a conscious living being with all faculties. He has a little home somewhere. He's got a little business going on in the corner collecting bugs. And that's his thing. He knows what to do. The only thing he's not doing any budge on. Of course, if he's in the room, he's hearing some stuff. But the fact is that that's not his intention. He's just, so animals, they're just the same as we are. They have the same feelings. They're afraid when you approach their house and go like, please don't wreck it, let me live, let my children live. They all want the same thing we want. But they just can't inquire about the absolute truth. That's why when you come to the Vedanta Sutra, it says, Tato Brahma Jignasa. Now you've won the lottery of the species. You've attained a human form. Rideham adam sulabham sadulabham plavam sukalpam guru karanadaram. Yeah, now you have a boat. You can cross over the ocean. It's a really rare thing to get it. So this is really exciting. So mayamragam, people are like animals because they forgot their dharma. Dayitaya, and out of mercy, the Lord ran after them. Lord Chaitanya runs after them. It means they don't want it, but anugrahat, he goes and grabs them and says, no, get over here. You're going to take this now. And so this is mercy. To actually, people didn't want it, they didn't ask for it, but you give it to them anyway. Or they didn't even deserve it. But Lord Chaitanya gives it to them anyway. Bruyu will tell. Snigdhasya, of the one who is submissive. Shishyasya, of the disciple. Gurava, the spiritual masters. Kuhyam, secret. Api uta, endowed with. Guyam, yeah, that's important. They reveal the secrets. Okay, let's see the translation. And because you are submissive, your spiritual masters have endowed you with all the favors bestowed upon a gentle disciple. Therefore, you can tell us all that you have scientifically learned from them. Purport: the secret of success in spiritual life is in satisfying the spiritual master and thereby getting his sincere blessings. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has sung in his famous 8 stanzas on the spiritual master as follows: I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Only by his satisfaction can one please the personality of Godhead, and when he is dissatisfied, there is only havoc on the path of self-realization. It is essential, therefore, that a disciple be very much obedient and submissive to the bona fide spiritual master. The iconic figures mentioned in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita for pleasing and displeasing the Guru. So Madhavendra Puri had disciples, and two of them are mentioned specifically in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And one of them is called Ramachandra Puri, and the other one is called Srila Ishvara Puri. Srila Ishvara Puri was so blessed by Madhavendra Puri that he went on to become the guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No easy feat. And Ramachandra Puri, because he offended his guru, Madhavendra Puri, he went on to become a professional fault finder. It's a profession. You can actually apply for it if you wish, and you can then spend the rest of your life finding fault with Vaishnavas, even with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So at the time that Madhavendra Puri was leaving this world, Srila Ishvara Puri attended to him, and Madhavendra Puri was in an invalid state, but his disciple Srila Ishvara Puri had gone out of his way to take care of all of his bodily functions to just serve him in a menial way. And Ramachandra Puri, when he saw Madhavendra Puri leaving the world, and he heard him speaking words of separation, that, oh my Lord, Lord of Mathura, I've not attained you. What's that? It's that time of year, huh? What should we do? This way? We better check with the camera crew. Thank you. Ramachandra Puri had criticized his spiritual master, and he said, Guruji, why are you speaking all these words like this at the time of death? He said, you should be meditating on Brahman. And Madhavendra Puri was so disturbed because he was in that transitional stage of going back to Godhead, meditating on the Lord in separation. Then he said, you rascal, go away. If I see you when I leave my body, that I won't attain the destination or the goal. And later on, Ramachandra Puri, because of these seeds of dissatisfaction, or because of the dissatisfaction of his guru, the seeds of offense were planted. And later on, he had this tendency to criticize, so he came to Jagannath Puri and spent his time observing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's daily activities and then trying to find some fault. And one day, although he couldn't find any fault with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he invented something. He came to his room and he saw some ants. Now in India, ants crawl here, there, and everywhere. In fact, it's a pastime when you sit and chant japa in Prabhupada's samadhi to watch them, see how they survive the devotees going around and around. I mean, they're everywhere, these ants. So Ramachandra Puri came to the abode of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he said, there are ants in here. That means this sannyasi has been eating sweets. And this is not very good, because the sannyasi should control his senses, but somehow secretly you're eating sweets, therefore there are ants. And then he started criticizing how much Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was eating. And now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu responded by cutting his portions of prasad in half. And all the devotees became very morose. And sometimes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when the devotees would come and they would complain, they say, why are you complaining? He's simply giving good instruction. And when Ramachandra Puri finally left that place, everyone gave a big sigh of relief and was jubilant that he was gone. So these are examples. And of course, Srila Ishvara Puri became celebrated as the great devotee that he is, the guru of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his sincere service. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has sung in his 8 stanzas on the spiritual master as follows: I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Only by his satisfaction can one please the personality of Godhead, and when he is dissatisfied, there is only havoc on the path of spiritual realization. It is essential, therefore, that a disciple be very much obedient and submissive to the bona fide spiritual master. Srila Sutta Goswami fulfilled all these qualifications as a disciple, and therefore he was endowed with all favors by his learned and self-realized spiritual masters such as Srila Vyasadeva and others. The sages of Naimisharanya were confident that Srila Sutta Goswami was bona fide. Therefore, they were anxious to hear from him. So now, if we look at, go back to the, just go to the view where the translations are for the first chapter. Several questions. Actually, you can go to Burini Buri Karmani Shrotavyani Vibhagasha. Atasadyo, no, what is that verse? Burini Buri Karmani Shrotavyani Vibhagasha. What verse number is that? 11. Go to 11 in the full view. So here's one of the questions. Bhurini Bhuri Karmani Shrotavyani Vibhagasha Atasadho Trayatsaram Samudrata Manishaya Bruhi Bhadraya Bhutanam Yenatma Suprasidati. What does Yenatma Suprasidati mean? Yeah. So the question is being asked here. Burini Bodhi Karmani Shrotavyani. There's many kinds of rules and regulations and scriptures that you can hear from. And we want you to tell us what is the essence of all of them so that the heart can be satisfied, so people in general can be satisfied. Translation. There are many varieties of scriptures, and in all of them there are many prescribed duties which can be learned only after many years of study in their various divisions. Therefore, O sage, please select the essence of all these scriptures and explain it for the good of all living beings, that by such instruction their hearts may be fully satisfied. Prabhupada's purport. Atma or self is distinguished from matter or material elements. It is spiritual in constitution, and thus it is never satisfied by any amount of material planning. All scriptures and spiritual instructions are meant for the satisfaction of this self, or Atma. There are many varieties of approaches which are recommended for different types of living beings in different times and at different places. So on the SAT exam, it will ask you, A, you can be satisfied by, true or false, you can be satisfied by material planning. SAT question, true or false? What is it? Correct, okay. 1600 for you. There are many varieties of approaches which are recommended for different types of living beings in different times and at different places. Consequently, the numbers of revealed scriptures are innumerable. There are different methods and prescribed duties recommended in these various scriptures. Taking into consideration the fallen condition of the people in general in this age of Kali, the sages of Naimisharanya suggested that Sri Sutta Goswami relate the essence of all such scriptures because in this age it is not possible for the fallen souls to understand and undergo all the lessons of all these various scriptures. No, it's coming from the skylight. The Varna and Ashrama society was considered to be the best institution for lifting the human being to the spiritual platform. But due to Kali Yuga, it is not possible to execute the rules and regulations of these institutions. Nor is it possible for the people in general to completely sever relations with their families as the Varnashrama institution prescribes. The whole atmosphere is surcharged with opposition. What is the whole atmosphere surcharged with? Have you noticed it? Where? Name one place. Everywhere is not an answer. Give a specific answer. Where? At home, okay. And considering this, one can see that spiritual emancipation for the common man in this age is very difficult. The reason the sages presented this matter to Sri Sutta Goswami is explained in the following verses. What should I do? This way? Here, let's move that. And then put that. We needed an astrologer to do this. See you. You can move closer if you want. Okay. More? I'll just get me some sunglasses. We'll start a new style for giving class. Okay, so the reason the sages presented this matter to Sutta Goswami is explained in the following verses. So here's one of the questions. Sages want to know. There's not a lot of time. There's a lot of opposition. It's already been established that the age of Kali, everyone has short lives. So tell us the main thing. Burini Budi Karamani Shrotavyani Vibhagasha. So many things to hear, so many rules and regulations, and everywhere you go, you'll hear everyone say, oh, there's this shastra, that shastra, this kind of worship, that kind of worship, touch this, don't touch that. So what should we do? So he said, give us the essence. And that's the point of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the cream. He's going to speak about what is the essential information that you need in order to have success in life. So that's a question that's asked. And then they also ask, Kova Bhagavatasya 17, Kova Bhagavatasya Punyashloke Dikarmana. Like, who won't listen to this? Knowing this, how potent it is, who won't listen to it? That's what it is. 17. Kova Bhagavatasya 16. There it is. Ka hu va, rather Bhagavata of the Lord, tasya, his punya, virtuous, shloka idya. Keep going down. Worshipable by prayers, karmana, deeds. It's talking about the Lord's. He's worshipable by prayers. His deeds are transcendental. Shuddhi kama. If you want to have deliverance from all sins, na shrunuyat. Who won't want to hear it? Have you ever noticed anybody who doesn't want to hear it? Yasha, his glories, Kali, in the age of Kali, Koro, Mala Apaham, the agent for sanctification. So in this age of Kali Yuga, the main way that you're going to get sanctified and be able to come to the perfection of life and is hearing this Harikatha. But there's people that don't want to hear it. Who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? Purport. The age of Kali is the most condemned age due to its quarrelsome features. Kali Yuga is so saturated with vicious habits that there is a great fight at the slightest misunderstanding. Those who are engaged in the pure devotional service of the Lord, who are without any desire for self-aggrandizement, and who are freed from the effects of fruitive actions and dry philosophical speculations, are capable of getting out of the estrangements, look up the word estrangement, please, of this complicated age. The leaders of the people are very much anxious to live in peace and friendship, but they have no information of the simple method of hearing the glories of the Lord. On the contrary, such leaders are opposed to the propagation of the glories of the Lord. In other words, the foolish leaders want to completely deny the existence of the Lord. In the name of the secular state, such leaders are enacting various plans every year. But by the insurmountable intricacies of the material nature of the Lord, all these plans for progress are being constantly frustrated. I'm going to read the last sentence again because it's really poetical. But by the insurmountable intricacies of the material nature of the Lord, all these plans for progress are being constantly frustrated. Insurmountable intricacies. Do you like that? They have no eyes to see that their attempts at peace and friendship are failing, but here is the hint to get over the hurdle. If we want actual peace, we must open the road to understanding the Supreme Lord Krishna and glorify Him by His virtuous activities as they are depicted in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this question is answered later in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the verse? Give me the verse. Look in the 10th canto. First verse that's mentioned there. Nivartatarshara bhagiyamanas bhavaushara shotramano biramat ka uttama shloka gunanavadat puman virajeta vina pashugnat. Okay, read the translation, please.
Glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is performed in the parampara system. That is, it is conveyed from the spiritual master to disciple. Such glorification is relished by those no longer interested in the false, temporary glorification of this cosmic manifestation. Descriptions of the Lord are the right medicine for the conditioned soul, undergoing repeated birth and death. Therefore, who will cease hearing such glorification of the Lord except a butcher or one who is killing his own self?
Yeah, so Vinapashugnat means one who's killing himself or killing animals. They're dedicated to that very ignorant activity. They're envious of their own self and so forth, so they're killing themselves through the process of material life. So they won't listen, they won't be interested. Yes?
What is the definition of being envious of one's own self?
Not taking to Krishna consciousness. Asuryanamate loka andena tamasabrita tanste pratyabhigashanti ekecha mahano janaha. The killer of the soul. They try to deny the existence of the soul and kill the soul either by nihilistic philosophy or by absorbing oneself in material sense gratification and being completely oblivious to the path of spiritual life. So now we'll take some reflections. This is the point is, the scene is set, and this is Sutta Goswami speaking to the sages. He's been enthroned on the Vyasasana because of his qualification of being submissive and having heard from his gurus. And because they say he's a simple and submissive soul, and he's learned carefully by hearing, now he's qualified to speak. And then they start to ask him questions. And the questions are then answered throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam. Those 6 questions are then become the subject matter for the rest of the Bhagavatam. So a couple of them we heard, the questions. One of them is, out of all the scriptures, what is the essential part? And then the other question was, who won't want to hear this? Knowing that just by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, you can overcome all the anomalies created by Kali Yuga. Who won't want to hear it? Reflections means anything you've heard so far that stuck. 1, 2, 3.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Last Saturday we went door to door to distribute a Bhagavatam set, and there was one person who was challenging, and we told them the advantages of reading Bhagavatam and how much science it's there. And he says, I agree that this is really good book, but how did they get to know this? How did they write this? I wanted to know that secret, he was saying. So I just thought
he wanted to know what?
How did that reveal to him? Because we were explaining how the distance between the sun and the earth, everything is already written.
How did they come to know that?
How did they come to know that without having the modern telescopes and everything? And I thought the 118 explains it, that how they have learned the scientific aspects of it because they were submissive to their previous spiritual masters. So that was one.
Yeah. It's a self-effulgent knowledge. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about this when he talks to Prakashananda Saraswati, and that is that there's knowledge that reveals itself. It's self-evident. Every system of philosophy or science has to have some axiomatic truth or some knowledge that reveals itself. And it's not that you can go back and prove everything. You don't have the capability of doing that. You have to accept some given. Like in geometry, you say, this is given, now proof, make the proof. If you don't have a given, where are you going to go from there? So the same thing with our system of knowledge. We accept the Veda as eternal, and that it's coming from a perfect source. So now you may challenge it and say, how do you know it's true? But if you don't accept some system of knowledge, then you get infinite regress. You can keep questioning everything as you go backwards, and you won't make any progress in any science. However, if you want to test it, you can test it enough so that you can understand. Doubting, says Kapila Dev, is a function of the intelligence. But the doubts are meant to bring you to the point of accepting a perfect source of knowledge. And once you've discovered that, then you should be submissive to it and stop doubting the source. So people oftentimes have these doubts because they've been disappointed so many times and they don't trust authority. And therefore, Krishna says in the Gita, Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmayama mupashrita bahavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavamagata. There are three things you have to give up in order to make advancement in spiritual life. The first thing is unwarranted attachment to the temporary material world. Don't be so attached. When you're buying a car, don't love the car, it won't love you back. Material world's not going to love you back. Because no matter how much you put your heart into it, Prabhupada points this out. You serve Maya your whole life, and then you'll say, I want to go serve Krishna now, and everyone will say, no, not so fast. You can't go serve Krishna. You stay and serve us. And Prabhupada writes in the TLC, Teaching of Lord Chaitanya, he said that Maya is saying, no, you stay in my clutches and I'll kick you. And it's like, okay. So one has to become aware of the fact that the material world is a temporary place. So then one has to also understand that there is an actual source of real knowledge, and if one tests that by following the tenets of devotional service, then the knowledge is revealed. As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, transcendental knowledge is so sublime and pure that one becomes satisfied by it in due course of time. And Krishna says, Tesham ivanukam partam aham jnanajam tamaha nashayam yatma bhavasto jnanadipena bhashvata. When you try for this and you enact the tenets of the practice, then he said, I'll reveal it to you within your heart. In fact, even in the spiritual circles, there are imponderables. That is, there may be topics that seem very difficult to grasp or impossible to grasp. Like one of the perennial favorites for people to argue about, besides chocolate, is the fall of the jiva. And the fall of the jiva becomes a circular argument going around and around and around and around. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in his Jaiva Dharma that in order to understand that topic, you have to be in chit samadhi. It means you have to be established in the higher self and be really absorbed. And then you can see beyond time and space. Otherwise, it's impossible to understand through the intellect. Just round and round you go. So the knowledge becomes revealed to those who are faithful to it, faithful to the transcendental knowledge and the practice. Thank you. Real life anecdotes are very helpful. And Prabhupada used to ask for these all the time. On morning walks, he would ask the book distributors, so what are they saying? He'd want to hear it. And he want to hear, okay, what'd you tell them? And then the devotees would say, that's what I said. And then Prabhupada would give, you could say this. You could say that. He was very much engaged because he's writing these books and they're going out. And he used to do it himself. He went door to door. He went shop to shop. He knows, he's heard all the stuff. It's like, even Nityananda and Advaitacharya, they went. It's mentioned in the Shastra, the Chaitanya Bhagavat, they went door to door. A lot of people slammed the door on him, so don't feel bad. An avatar comes to your door. Hi, it's Mahavishnu. Bang. I got a TV show to watch. Would you leave me alone? It's Saturday. And so this is actually transcendental work. To go there and be insulted. This is the highest kind of spiritual practice. And if you're willing to go be insulted, what to speak, the early Jesus movement became successful because they were willing to die for their religion. That's why Romans started thinking like, maybe they got something here. I mean, the Romans were trying to crush the whole Jesus movement, but because the followers of Jesus were willing to die for their cause, then people started thinking like, it's more important to them to keep their faith. They don't even care if they die. That's when it starts sticking in people's minds. So what to speak of just going out and having a few doors slammed in your face, which rarely ever happens. I mean, you're lucky if you get a couple of them in one lifetime. Have you ever had it? You're pretty lucky. I could probably count on one hand how many people have actually slammed the door. And it's hilarious. I mean, the guy opens the door, he looks at you, and then within a millisecond he decides, I hate this, and then bang, he closes the door. Like, how do you do that? How do you stay in such a ready state to reject the Srimad Bhagavatam all of a sudden? Okay, there was a couple more. Shraddha, you're next.
So Maharaj, I was thinking about the SB 1116, which said that who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord. And of course, in book distribution, we come across at least a few who are not willing to hear. And then I was thinking that in the morning you said about the holy name of the Lord during the japa circle, that even if they forcefully hear it, and forcefully chant. And then to talk about those who are submissive, as they were glorifying Sutta Goswami as a submissive person.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the spider on your decks.
Yeah.
I mean, if the spider was not submissive, then you would have just carried him and taken him and put him outside in the garden. But he was
Anugraha.
Anugraha. So then, but he was submissive, so it stayed there. And I was thinking that just by being submissive, now the spider gets to hear Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, English, in Japanese, Ask the Vash series, all that. If it has questions, the questions get answered. So just by being there,
Well, thank you very much. Yes. Who's next? Oh, Kitapriya.
At the beginning of the class, you said that even if you don't have like a scholarship, or even if you don't have a PhD,
yes,
you can still do Krishna consciousness. It's not like something that you need a PhD or a scholarship.
Correct.
And I thought that was really nice, because Krishna is so merciful, because he's just giving out this knowledge, even though it's so esoteric and confidential, but he just wants everyone to know. So
yeah. And really the approach that Krishna describes in the Bhagavad Gita is so amazing. We read about it on Wednesday, remember? Because Prabhupada paraphrases in the 10th mantra of the Sri Upanishad what the 20 tenets of the path of knowledge are. And it starts off with being respectful to others and being humble. Amanidvam adamvidvam. So this is Krishna's version of how you actually become, how you avail yourself to real knowledge. Is you have to be submissive, amanidvam, adamvidvam, ahimsa. You have to be nonviolent. You know Prabhupada's definition of nonviolence? What is it? Not preaching Krishna. If you don't preach Krishna conscious, you're being violent. That's a higher standard, really. I mean, some people go out of their way, they brush the sidewalk, or they wear a mask, or whatever. But ours is proactive. That unless you're actually doing good for others by teaching them Krishna consciousness, you're doing violence. So, yes, nice points. Yes.
Just relating to how you were talking about this human form of life is the most precious. There's this. It was there in the book that I'm reading currently. It talks about the verse. There's this verse that it talks about, and I thought it was really relating to your point. And it said, a child is attached to playing all kinds of frivolous sports, which means one's childhood is spent playing. As one grows young, most of the time is spent chasing after young girls, and topics related to this relationship becomes the central theme of discussion. As one grows old, one's life becomes ridden with innumerable anxieties. There is one thing in common between youth and old age. Both the young and the old have a heart problem. In youth, the heart is stolen, and in old age, it is swollen. And then it says, in this way, one spends his whole life not paying any attention to the real goal of life, which is to accept Krishna consciousness seriously. Despite achieving the rare human form of life, one maintains callous attitude towards giving any energy for spiritual activities. One feels that at a ripe age in the future he can take to Krishna consciousness. But that age, by as in a flash, all one is left with his memories of how the body was working the way he wanted, and now he remains with a simple regret. So I thought it was really reflecting on your point on how this is the most precious, and like this lifetime we have the opportunity to inquire questions and learn submissively, rather than other animals that don't have this quality. So
yeah, it's a good point, and also it goes to the idea of why there's a stubbornness not to hear, or it describes that stubbornness. There's a preoccupation in youth with hearing about, boys hearing about girls, girls hearing about boys. There's all this kind of interaction that really absorbs the mind. And then later on, as he said, there's a kind of infirmity that takes place. Whether one wants it or not, it comes. And then one's simply battling against the demise of the physical and mental body. And as you said, the heart gets swollen and stolen in the youth and swollen in old age. One way or another, it's a distraction. So it's really important to realize that one has an opportunity and to take advantage of it. I quoted the verse earlier, Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashrita bhavo jnana tapasa. So Krishna says 3 things you have to give up. One is you have to give up inordinate attachment, irrational attachment to matter. This is called asat trishna. Trishna means a taste or a thirst, and asat means the temporary. Because yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkayonaya evate adyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. Krishna says that an intelligent person doesn't become enamored of the temporary material world. He doesn't take pleasure there. He knows if it has a beginning and end, it's not for me, because it's inferior energy, if that happens. And it's categorically different from me. And therefore he knows that engaging the senses with their objects, becoming attached, is the source of misery. So he doesn't engage that way. And the second one, bhaya, means fear. And the description of the fear factor is that there's a way in which I'm afraid of my personal existence. I think that material life is suffering because relationships, which are distinctly individual, are ultimately disappointing. And therefore, one may think that spiritual life and happiness means to be devoid of any individuality and any relationship whatsoever. That's speculation. And then there's this inordinate fear. Does this make sense? There's a fear of relationship, of individuality. And therefore one wants to annihilate one's individual existence. And this is called bhaya, or fear of individual existence. And then finally, krodha. Krodha is exhibited in this kind of unwillingness and stubbornness to take to Krishna consciousness, because one has heard so many competing philosophies in the world that people come to conclusions like, well, religion is just the cause of all kinds of violence and things like that, even though empirically it's not true. Actually, atheistic governments and civilizations who have like Stalin, communism, and so forth, they've killed many more people and been just as contentious, or more than anybody else in history. This speculation that religion causes conflict and everything like that is not necessarily true. Human beings are inclined that way. They just use any excuse they can get. It's not the cause. Religion's not the cause of it necessarily. But there's this way in which people become very frustrated, and then in anger they express this opinion that all religion causes problems. I'm not interested in organized religion, blah, blah, blah. and on and on. And so Krishna says one has to overcome vita. One has to overcome these three misconceptions. Don't be attached to matter, and you can do that. You can become unattached to temporary things by hearing about the temporary nature of the material world. Krishna says in the Bhagavatam 10th canto, Shruti pratyaksham aniyam anamanam chatushpadam. Where's it? 11 canto? 11, sorry. Shruti pratyaksham ani aitiyam. Shruti pratyaksham. So he says, use these four to understand that vikalpatsa virajate and become detached from the material world. Understand the material world is not a stable place. What is it? 11, 19, 17. Shruti, there it is. Shruti pratyaksham aitiyam anumanam chatushtayam pramaneshvanavastanad vikalpat sa virajite. So this verse says that Shruti, Vedic knowledge, pratyaksham, direct experience, aitiyam means traditional wisdom. It's passed down by word of mouth. And anumanam, logical induction. You should use these four to understand that the material world is anavastanat, which means it is not stable. It's flickering. So stanat means steady, stable. And anavastanat means it's not going to stay. It'll keep moving. So the translation is, from the four types of evidence, Vedic knowledge, direct experience, traditional wisdom, and logical induction, one can understand the temporary, insubstantial situation of the material world by which one becomes detached from the duality of this world. So one should cultivate this knowledge and understand that it's not going to be stable here. If you think it is, then you'll be really disappointed. Right? Do you agree? Okay. Yes. Vikalpatsa virajate. Virajate means that therefore you should become detached.
Such a quick question from what we discussed in the Japa circle.
Yeah.
So, Sweka mentioned how, like, when we chant slowly, like our distress go away and we become happy. But then my question, what happens is it goes in a loop. The problem comes, then I chant very sincerely, my problem goes away, and I forget my attentive chanting also. So then again another problem has to come, and then I have to chant. So what is this happiness? Is that talking about?
So problems are our friends. Because if you don't have problems, then you have no reason to overcome them. So Krishna sends these problems so that we can take shelter of him. Vipara santata sasvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat syad apunar bhavadarshanam. Queen Kunti states this to the whole world. She reveals this secret of the devotees. She said, "My Lord, more problems, please. Where are all the problems? I need more problems. Because when I get problems, then I really chant good japa. And when I think that I'm cruising and I cop a lean, I'm leaning out the side of the car, I'm steering with one finger because I'm so cool, power steering. I got money in the bank, got a new hairdo. And I'm thinking, like, I'm so lucky, I'm so cool. And then, where's the japa? Oh, I forgot to chant. I'm so happy, I forgot to chant. But when you're faced with problems and you know what to do, who do you turn to but Krishna? It's really funny how nobody can help you in this world, really, ultimately. Only Krishna can solve your problems. Other people, you can ask them, but they're like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, hey, that didn't help. But if you understand that he's so friendly, Prabhupada says over and over again, he's so friendly. He's there within the heart, and he follows us wherever we go. Nobody else does that. And he has the wherewithal to fix the insurmountable complexities, intricacies. What is that? Insurmountable intricacies? insurmountable intricacies of material life. Only he can figure all that out. So embrace problems as your friends. You can write a little booklet called Problems Are Our Friends. Yes. It'll be a big seller.
Following up with what Gandharvika Mataji was saying, today morning you were asking for reflections during japa. I wanted to bring this up, but I couldn't. Every weekend we go out on Sankirtan, so you're always scared. Have you done your sadhana enough? So asking for problem kind of a thing is going out on Sankirtan, because you're praying very hard. Please engage me in your service. Chaitanya Charan Prabhu once mentioned this, that anyway, you're just an instrument. You can either be a conductor, a semiconductor, or an insulator. So he said that if you really depend on Krishna, then you will be a conductor. Whatever is coming from Krishna, it goes through you to the other person. That makes an impact on that person. So we should pray to Krishna that we are a conductor, not a semiconductor, distorted information, neither an insulator. So that helps a lot when we are chanting the japa.
It's really nice advice, and packaged so in such a way that it's so enticing and consumable. Thank you very much, Malini. And it is really the juxtaposition of doing Sankirtan, going out, and doing the work on the street, door to door, and so forth, paired with sitting in your seat, finding, where's my seat? I'm in this assembly somewhere, and I come there and I sit faithfully and I hear. These two things together, going out and coming back in, this process, these two things together, that's what gives one that dynamic tension. Because when you go out, as you mentioned, there's this, in the old days when we were young, one of my friends, a Sankirtan devotee, I used to talk about how I was young. So he would always say, we live in fear of the bomb out. Bomb out means you go out there and you didn't do very well. Tried really hard. How'd you do? I bombed out, they would say. So he would say his sadhana was so intense. Why? Because he lives in fear of the bomb out. And so if you have these two things, you can actually go through your youth preoccupied with how do I keep my sadhana at a high level so that I can keep be an instrument. And you'll just blow by the whole lifetime. And all of a sudden you'll surface somewhere in your old age and go like, hey, what happened? And it goes like, hey, you did it. You did your whole life in Krishna consciousness. And that's the power of Sankirtan. If you stick with the process, right? Because aren't we blowing by decades now? You look by and goes, that was a decade ago that we started, whatever. I was in Toronto and they, last time we were there, it said, 10 years, we're celebrating 10 years. And I said, that was 10 years? That seemed like a couple months. But, there's 10 years. It's in a chunk, and it's not nothing. And if you get enough of those, put together 60, 70, 80, 100, however long you plan on sticking around, that's something solid that will give you the platform to go back to Godhead from. Thanks, Malini. Who was next? Okay, here, and then Kamala.
So this is Bhakt Ankit Vora. Hare Krishna, dearest Guru Maharaj, my humble obeisances. Ramchandra Puri, being disrespectful and disobedient to his spiritual master, got the seed of offense, and he was consistently criticizing the Mahaprabhu in Puri. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, I see that when devotees are committing offenses, they are getting huge reactions, such as leprosy, body turning ugly, plundered villages, etc. Ramchandra Puri didn't get anything like that. On the other hand, he was able to hang out with Mahaprabhu all the time. And on top of that, the most bewildering thing I have heard about his spiritual identity, as per Kavi Karnapura Goswami, is Jatila, mother-in-law of Radha, plus Vibhishan. It seems that Ramchandra Puri is just doing his eternal seva of criticizing Krishna. then how is he offensive in this case? Please clarify this doubt, Guru Maharaj.
Well, we get into this confluence of the Leela and the didactic nature of Mahaprabhu's appearance. It's his Acharya Leela, he's teaching by example. And where the actual offense starts and how it was Krishna's arrangement or Lord Chaitanya's arrangement ends, it's hard to say, but we're really meant to take the lesson. For instance, in the story of Chota Haridas, everyone always like, what? And the Acharyas say, Mahaprabhu did this because he's in his Acharya Leela. He wants to teach everybody, be really careful. And it seems inordinate what Chota Haridas, but Mahaprabhu did it for a reason. It sticks, everyone talks about it. And they realize that it's not a sentimental movement. You can't take the renounced order of life and then cheat at the same time. So he made that really clear. Ramachandra Puri is infamous. It's not that he's glorified in the Shastra. Everywhere everyone says Ramachandra Puri, it's obvious that he made an offense to his guru. The way that Mahaprabhu positions various personalities is for teaching. And at the same time, we can't take it that we should ultimately take the lesson that's coming from that and not try to cross over and say, well, it doesn't matter because it's in the Leela. Best I can do for now. Kamala?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for a great class. I wanted to find out, like the first one you said is the detachment, but the second one, the fear, which I did not understand at all. I know you asked whether we understood.
For fear, there was this person, Japanese, who stayed with Satyadev and Mahaguna for some time. They very generously always opened their home to many different kinds of people to stay there. This was about 15, 20 years ago. I remember this very clearly. They had I think she was working in America. Somehow she had some connection with Mahaguna. And she came to stay. They allowed her to stay at their house for a while. And she had some spiritual practice, but she was intensely eager to achieve the result of her spiritual practice, which was to become nothing. And the reason that she wanted to become nothing was because she had suffered so much in her life. Some people express this, how deeply they're suffering. They may have some internal strife in their heart. They struggle in their youth, they struggle in their adolescence and so forth due to various mental problems, relationship problems and so forth. The material world's a place of suffering. Some people feel it much more acutely than others. And she, as a representative of this idea, had wholly given herself to the idea of, I'll find relief by annihilating myself. Some people do it philosophically and they say the ultimate reality is anatmana. There's no atma. It's actually just a temporary and a random combination of circumstances through which someone somewhere, or whatever the consciousness is perceiving that there's some variety in the world, but ultimately when one achieves the result of the spiritual practice, then one no longer perceives anything, just merges into nothingness, nihilism. So this is a kind of fear of material existence. Prabhupada says it like this. Man's in the hospital. It's full of tubes and little, or as Mukunda Datta Prabhu said, remember, he goes, anyway, everyone's life ends in a hospital bed next to a beeping pole. So here's the guy in the hospital next to a beeping pole, and he's got tubes coming out of every orifice. Dame Tanya's like, and then And then someone says that, you're going to be better soon. And he can't even fathom what better means because he's in so much pain. Everything hurts. Every bodily function hurts. It's so painful. So they say, you're going to be normal, you'll have normal evacuation, digestion, everything like that. And the man thinks, I don't want it. I can't imagine that I'll ever actually have a healthy functioning body. It's just so far from his mind because there's so much pain. So then he's thinking it's not possible. So I'd rather be dead. So there's this idea that there's so much pain in the heart, the living entity of one life after another. Bhagavatam says poetically that there's an ocean somewhere that is filled up with the tears of the living entities crying due to so many reversals of fortune, life after life. If you collect all the tears, it makes an ocean. And so with all that, this idea of resorting to nothingness, of annihilating the self, just make it nothing. That's the fear. So when someone says, in the spiritual world there's dancing, and there's variety of food and all kinds of things like that, then the person thinks, it's not possible. I know what dancing leads to. I know what I can't eat. Eating, I don't want to. I want nothing. So that's the fear that one has to overcome. So then he goes on in the verse, Bahavo Jnana Tapasa. So he gives this formula in 2 words of how many people, he says, Bahavo, many people have attained perfection by overcoming these 3 stumbling blocks, and they have come to Puta, means purification, Bhavam, and Bhavam, they've achieved actual spiritual emotion for me. And how is it? It's hidden in these 2 words. Jnana Tapasa. This is the secret. So jnana means knowledge. And you get knowledge by hearing about Krishna in the association of devotees. And tapasa means that you do your duty. I mean, just like if there are duties you have to do to be responsible, and it's a little austere to do the right thing. Tell the truth, do your duty, and so forth, do your dharma, and also do your spiritual duty as well. Not so easy sometimes completing all your spiritual duties, but this is the tapasa. You have to dedicate your life to that I'm doing it no matter what. Even if my mind doesn't agree, even if I'm sick, that's why it's such a big deal when people get initiated. They're sitting there and they're saying, I'm going to do this no matter what. I mean, think about it. It's a long life, right? You think, what if I change my mind later? It's like, wow, you just vowed to do that the rest of your life? That's tapasa. In fact, Prabhupada, in one conversation, the devotees were asking about fasting on the day of their initiation. And Prabhupada said, you are already fasting. He said, you don't eat meat, fish, or eggs. Like, we don't even know it. We're performing all these tapasyas that most people are like, you what? You eat what? It's a life of tapasya. So these 2 things together, jnana tapasa. If you gather knowledge by hearing and you do the tapasa, then wisdom comes. And from wisdom you can come to purification and absorption. And there's no progress without absorption. You have to be absorbed. Otherwise you're on the outside of the practice. And you'll look at it and you'll think, it's just philosophical. At one point it goes like, it's nice, but there's other nice things too. That's what happens when you don't achieve absorption. There's so many self-help movements. They're also nice. What's the big deal you guys are making of this? So you have to get that jnana tapasa, puta, purification, and you have to come to absorption. And from there, actually, bhava, real spiritual life begins. That's when real spiritual life begins, is when the emotion begins to churn in the heart. Like, I'm attached. And we know what it means to be attached, right? Say yes. Yes, so you know what that feeling is, but when it's for Krishna, then your life is made. Because that's the goal of life. And it can be done through jnana and tapasa. And one can come to that, a perfect stage. Yes, Sukeshwari.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I just wanted to, in connection with what Gandharvika Mataji was asking, I was able to do the chanting in the morning, like online, and thanks to all the live possible here. When you were talking about the japa thing, and I was thinking that when I first started chanting, I really loved chanting. But after 10 years, I realized I never chanted. I only was just doing my numbers. Because I was reading a book on Burijana Prabhu's, where he said that you just have to say the mantra, listen to the mantra, even if it's not the whole round, not 16, just one mantra. Then I realized, I never chanted, actually. This is the way you're supposed to chant. And then another 10 years, and I was just thinking that, now I chant, maybe out of my each round, I actually listen to the mantra once. So I was just thinking that, as you had mentioned, that decades of chanting, and it's a wonderful realization that at least I understand now what I have not been doing. And
that's progress. It really is progress. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhaktivinoda Upadesh, Ek bar nam rashe matore. He said just one time, Ek bar nam. Try to get one name that gives you that intoxication. If you can hear that one name and say, I've been missing this my whole life, then he said, your life is perfect if you can get that. So we try for that. As it's a powerful realization. Actually, we were talking last night after the Stanford program about advancement, and someone was saying that, the more I do this, the more I realize that I'm inept, I don't know anything. He said that's the nature of any discipline. As you continue, then you start to, the more you know you don't know. And there's a phenomena that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions for the beginner in Krishna consciousness, and of course it also applies to other disciplines as well. It's called utsahan mayi, which means early zeal, or over-enthusiasm and that doesn't sound right, but the fact is that utsahan mayi means like you're full of kind of false enthusiasm, and you express it in the way that, like, okay, I know everything now. Like somebody first starts to play the piano, they had 2 lessons, and like, I'm the maestro, watch out, here I come. I know piano, but somebody's actually accomplished. They realize how much refined one has to be, how many times one has to practice, and so forth, in order to achieve a high level of recital. So the same way in devotional service, oftentimes people come, we used to call it, there was a name for it in the ashrams, it was called the pure devotee disease. People would come, and after a few weeks, they get their tilak right, and then it's like, hey, watch out, I'm a pure devotee. I got this. I know what's going on. But over a long period of time, the struggles actually inform us of where the gaps are. It's very important to stick to it, because the problems come, and then you see like, actually I have an artist that are there. I didn't even know they were there. I have a lot of work to do. So people, if they stick around long enough, they actually become mature and wise and compassionate also. Because people who have been through problems and solved them by Krishna consciousness, they're not only mature, but they're also compassionate, because they know. And Krishna says in the Gita, Atma pam yena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham vayarivadukam sa yogi paramo mataha. He said the best yogi, the parama yogi, topmost yogi, is one who has compassion for the struggles of others and sees that what they're going through, and therefore his heart goes out to them. Were you raising your hand again? Yes.
I was just, one more thing I wanted to share is, I've always been trying to read Srimad Bhagavatam, getting to know more. But I realized that just reading has not been helping me. But if maybe it's just because the way I have been raised, that extremely academic. You have to study, you have to get good grades, always. So I was just thinking that recently we had a Bhakti Vaibhava exam, and then when I was reading for the exam, I wanted to make sure I remember every point. So I would read it again and again. I'm cooking, I will be listening, I will. So it's always reaching the goal of getting good grades. It's not to relish Srimad Bhagavatam. But then later I realized, when I did that for a week or two, I realized that the Bhagavatam is so sweet. But I was just thinking that how indirectly I'm trying to reach, through the way that you've been raised.
And that's okay. Whatever way you can approach Bhagavatam, the Bhagavatam will accommodate. Akama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. It has, by proximity, will be purified. And oftentimes our motivation or our approach may not be refined, but the fact is, it counts. Who is next? Yes, Mayapur, and then we're coming to Priya Kishori. Bahavo Jnana Tapasa. There you go.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I was a question. I was in the car when I heard this, you use the word lottery for the species, the human form. That really touched me. I mean, something I know, at least theoretically, but the realization and the implementation, and the question is related to this verse, combination of the two. That, yes, I've been hearing about this Durlabh Manav Janma since probably even before I came to ISKCON. And as the age passes, with this verse also, to get detached from this world. I mean, somehow I don't feel, that urgency or detachment is coming. Don't want a scenario where out of His mercy Krishna forces through, extreme measures. But what is probably missing, that the detachment or urgency doesn't seem to come. Is it sadhana, something else?
Our goal really isn't detachment. Although there are various verses we can pick out, and it seems like what we're doing is about being detached. And certainly I can say that in the beginning of our Krishna consciousness movement, that was the main thrust. Everyone thought it's all about detachment. And however detached you are, that's how advanced you are. And of course, we went to great measures to prove our detachment in various ways as well. But bhakti is not about detachment. It's actually about attachment. Because the more we become attached to Krishna and the Krishna service, the more it's natural that we're not attached to things that are not related to Krishna. Bhakti parishanubhava virakti ranyata traisha trika ekakala prapadya manasya yatasnata sus tushti pushti shuddha payonagasam. Just like when you eat food, Bhagavatam says, you naturally don't, you get full. You don't need anything else. And this relates to the experience that when you get bhakti, when you're attached to your service and to the devotees, you love the devotees, then you're not interested in worldly attachment anymore. And when you're attached to your service, it's meaningful to you because you love Bhagavad Gita. You want it to go everywhere. Like, the career thing, although you do it because you have to maintain your family here in the Silicon Valley with $500,000 a year, it's not like your main thing. Some people love their career, and that's like their main thing, right? It's like it's all about the career. But you're not like that. You just work there because you want to stay in Silicon Valley. As I was driving home with Anantadev last night, took me home from Stanford, I was saying, God, it's really expensive in the Bay Area. You go to the dentist and it's like $350. And he was saying, but that's good in a way. It brings all the best people here. And he said, it's doable. You can do it. Anybody, said, if we can do it, we don't make much money, but we're somehow staying in the Bay Area. And also, this is a unique place. I kind of got off track, but the fact is that we're interested in attachment to Krishna. And when you have that, then naturally all the other kinds of things happen. Bhaktis tvayi stirataya bhagavan yadi sas daivena na palati divya kashora murti. Next line. Anyway, it says that mukti, everyone, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they all stand at your doorstep. So it's natural. Bhakti is natural. In the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, Krishna talks about the different paths, jnana, karma, and bhakti. So he says, for those who are attached to the material world, karma yoga is good. For those who are totally averse to the material world, jnana is good. For those who are neither too attached nor too detached from the material world, bhakti is the best. But it's always the best because it's natural for us to become attached. And if you just become more and more attached to Krishna, then all the other points are done. And if you militantly try to battle against the senses and deny them, then you'll just become hard-hearted. Devotees are sweet. You just want to take them home and look at them because they're so nice. I mean, that's a real Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is like you just sitting there and go how does a person like this exist? You look at them and you see they're sweet from top to bottom, from morning till night. At every time you see them, and even the way they walk, whatever they do, and you just want to be around them. And that's sadhu sangha. And they're sweet. They're not dried up, on edge, averse to everything they touch. They know how to interact with everything because they love Krishna. And that's the goal. It's not to become a hard-hearted renunciate and give up everything. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur just brought in the sannyas thing just to impress the public, really. The Vaishnav sannyas, really Vaishnavas used to they'd take off all the accoutrements of the Varnashrama. And he reinstituted because people didn't respect Gaudiya Vaishnavism at the time. So he said, okay, let's put it back in. Let's put the Brahmin thread back in. And the whole idea of renunciation, ours is about attachment to Krishna. But that's, that is augmented. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharta Meka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dari Kripambujariyastavaham Prapadye. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu proved through his disciples, he had billionaires coming in. And he had the greatest scholars in the world, and they just gave it all up. Tyakvaturna Mashesha Mandalapati. He said, see, here's the power of bhakti. Raghunath Das, they were making billions. And he could have inherited it all. The parents wanted to give him best wife, all the money, you can take whatever you want. And he was like, no thanks. I want Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's all I want. And same with Rupa and Sanatana, all of them. So it proved that that's real renunciation. But we shouldn't get the idea, it's like that's what it's all about, just renouncing. Look what they did. They became more and more absorbed in hearing and chanting about Krishna and so forth, and then it's natural. Really, if you have that sense of happiness from reading Bhagavatam, then it's actually true that you don't care about anything else. I mean, there are other things that you need to stay alive, keep your family going and stuff like that. But when it comes down to it, if somebody gives you a little corner with a comfortable mat and a set of Bhagavatams, and they'll call you for prasadam when it's ready, then what else do you want? And that's actual happiness in life, because then you have wealth, because then you don't care about moving ahead in the material world and stuff like that. You're absorbed in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam fulfills all desires, and it gives one that full satisfaction. Yes, internet, and then we're back to the SAT going on now. When did it start? 8 o'clock? 9, 10, 2 more hours. Yellow. It's good, it's good.
I'm saying it's red, but still.
Oh, okay.
It's good. So this is a WhatsApp message from Madhav Govinda Prabhu in India. And
Madhav Govinda?
Madhav Govinda.
Wow.
Our Madhav Govinda Prabhu, yeah. So my laptop just died, so I'm telling you from memory now.
Okay.
So first message was from Jose Rios, Jose who's with him, and he was thanking for such a refreshing lecture, and he was saying that after hearing you, he's revising his practice.
Is he in India now?
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. With Madhava Govinda? Madhava Govinda, he's unstoppable. Wherever he goes, he continues his worldwide outreach in such a profound way. It's actually amazing. It just shows there's no nothing can stop devotional service. You're determined to continue the Sankirtan movement. Okay, go ahead.
And then Madhav Govinda Prabhu's, his own realization is, he liked the point about how Gyan and Tapa leads to purification, and that leads to absorption.
Yes. Absorption is where progress takes place in any discipline. So you have to get to absorption. And to do that, you got to have a little skin in the game. That means tapasya. Do the right thing. And continue hearing. Then you'll get purification, then you can come to absorption. Prabhu. Was that it? Prikishori, and then, yes.
I think it's okay. You had mentioned that the struggle reveals the gap, and I was thinking how that could be identified more like a magnifying glass, that you can actually see what's missing. And some people, they don't have the fortune of having such struggle. Everything's, figured out for them, and they're almost medicated to believe everything is okay. And they never get to dig deep into the reason why something is missing. And one more example that I was remembering from Nirakula Mataji's offering to you, she said that when you noticed something was wrong, you would be unsympathetic about figuring out the root cause and trying to solve that. And I was thinking that there's some struggles that come in my life, at least repeatedly. They seem the same. And I realize more and more that the problem is not with the struggle, but the problem is with me, because I'm not able to see it from the right perspective to identify how that can be solved. So I thought that was a very profound point. This struggle reveals the gap.
Yes, thank you very much. Nicely put also. Thank you. Prabhu? Struggle reveals the gap.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Regarding the position of Srimad Bhagavatam relative to other scriptures, so I was talking to a friend who has traditionally learned Shastra, he's learned the Vedas. So when we were talking, I quoted something from Bhagavatam, and he said that, did you know that the other Puranas, the other Puranas also glorify themselves in a certain way. There is a certain premise that's laid out in the beginning, and the Purana says that this is the supreme in relative to the others. So how does one counter this? Because
Well, first of all, they have to, because they're doing their job. Because what Purana is going to come out and say, this isn't very important. Because from all the Vedas, really, it's a huge project. It's meant to bring all the living entities at various stages of life to a higher level. So even the ones where it's emphasizing worshiping demigods, this demigod is supreme. The meaning there really is that for this person at this stage of life, that it's important for them to take shelter here. The implication is that they're going to get faith in the Shastra itself if they take shelter in that place. And we can turn to Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the standard for all acharyas. And when we come there, then Krishna says, Traigunya Vishaya Veda, Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna, Nirdvanvo Nityasatvaso, Niryoga Shema Atmavan. First of all, the Vedas, he said, it's mainly about the three modes of material nature. Arjuna, don't concern yourself with that. It's not even transcendental when you get to that point. And then we know the whole history of Srila Vyasadeva. It's there recorded of how he compiled the whole Vedas and wanted to make them available to the world. Of course, the Upanishads are the first transcendental section of the Vedas. And then you come into the Vedanta Sutra and the various other Puranas. But even after Srila Vyasadeva compiled all of those Puranas, he was still not satisfied because he had not so deliberately and specifically spoken about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. That's when he meets his spiritual master. In the 5th chapter of the Bhagavatam, 1st canto, we see this meeting between Narada Muni and Srila Vyasadeva. That's got some consequence because, Narada Muni the greatest of all the Vaishnavas and the teachers and so forth. And here's Srila Vyasadeva. He's a literary incarnation of God. Everyone accepts that. And what is the statement of Vyasadeva at that point in history in which he's actually compiled all the different Puranas and had done the Upanishads, done everything else, and now he says, I feel incomplete. Why is it? Guruji, please tell me what's deficient in me. And now Narada Muni speaks. He says, you didn't actually specifically and robustly enough describe the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You have to do it more. So even the idea is that the Bhagavat Purana is even there, but now after he goes into his samadhi, he goes into a samadhi and he has a clear vision of Krishna and his pastimes in the spiritual world. And when he comes out, then he speaks what is called Samadhi Bhashya. This is the speech of one who's directly seen the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he relates those, and then we get the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, each one of the Puranas declares, this is the Supreme Purana, the deity of this Purana is the best, and so forth. But in the overall scheme of things, as Jiva Goswami proves in the Tattva Sandarbha, and he stair-steps all the way up to show the relative nature of all the different Puranas, that in the history and the chronology of the way they were all brought out, Srimad Bhagavatam stands supreme. You'll also find a detailed account of this in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, in a very charming section in which all the Shastras personified are having a debate about which one's the best. You should read that section. It'll give you a lot of insight. And actually the Srimad Bhagavatam personified doesn't even participate in most of it because it's so beneath. It's like, don't even bring them in yet, because or in the Bhagavatam, because let these guys, the little guys, fight it out amongst themselves. And so Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, they all go to great lengths to show how the Srimad Bhagavatam is supreme. You can understand the progression of pramanam verses that are there in the Tattva Sandarbha, bringing a clear understanding of how the Bhagavatam is the ultimate of all the different Puranas. As I said, also, I just got a history of the compilation of the Bhagavatam and how it all hangs together, down to the exact month that things took place from our pundit in the UK, Kartik Chandra Prabhu. I can share that with everyone if you like. Prabhu, did you get something to take away? Okay.
You were mentioning about the inadvertent attachment to this material world.
Yes.
I just had a reflection. One of our colleagues actually was leaving our company, and he just revealed something that he said, did you all notice I'm wearing a chain? And then we asked, what is it? And then he was mentioning that it has a locket which says that after he dies, he wants his body preserved for the future, and then he pays about $1,500 a year until he's alive, and because of that, but money is very expensive, it only preserves the head. And then he was saying that how he's hopeful that even though it's head, somebody will figure out how to grow my rest of my body. I was just reflecting how people are so attached to this material world that even after they give up, they still have a hope against hope. And initially I was thinking, what is this? But then I thought some compassion for what he was saying, and then I gave him the journey of self-discovery and the science of self-realization. And he felt so much of gratitude that he said, I really love these spiritual books, let me read what's in there. So I was just thinking how everybody's so attached. And even Google founders, they're also in the same program of preserving, and many people like that.
Yeah, that reminded me in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita when Krishna is talking about the ways that the soul leaves the body. Ukramantam stitam vapi bunjanam vagunanvitam vimunanana pashyanti jnana chaksusa. A person who studied this They can understand what's going on. But he says, yatanto yoginas chainam pashyandyatman avastitam, yatanto pyakritatmano nainam pashyanti chetasa. Because there are other people, they haven't studied this, they don't know what's happening. And it's so profound that if you study the science of Krishna consciousness, if you're a little introspective, you can see, oh, I understand what's going on. Death is not such a huge mystery for people who understand it. It's like, yeah, she just left her body. She what? Left her body? It's very difficult to understand if you don't study the science. So it's important for people to get the information because they don't hear about it on CNN. And they don't get it in school. It's not on the SAT. What's the difference between a dead body and a living body? They ask all these other questions, but they don't ask that. It's not really pertinent in human society at all. And it's the most important thing. Prabhupada brought it up at MIT. When he lectured there, he asked all the students, he said, where's the department here to discern what the difference is between a dead body and a living body? And everyone was like, what? We did this program in Nagano in Japan. It's way up in the mountains. It was a really charming thing. This one Japanese fellow, somehow or other, he came in contact with Krishna consciousness. He drove 3.5 hours just to come to the temple in Tokyo. He met Jai Shri, talked to her for a couple hours. He wanted to have a program at his house. So he got everything ready, invited his whole village and everything. We all met there. And we talked about Atmatattva Gyan, and we chanted Hare Krishna, and we were all sharing. And in the circle, we're going around with the reflections, and there were two women sitting together, friends, and they liked everything, but they said, this thing about not being our body, that's a little far-fetched. I mean, that's going a little too far. And so we'll have to think about this for a while. And I was thinking, that's the first time they ever heard it. And they're middle-aged. No one ever said, you're not your body. And like, come on. So yeah, the compassion is there. The real compassion is, giving knowledge to human society. Because if you feed them and they still think they're their body, it's not going to help. Doesn't matter how much food. You could drive up with a truck. People win the lottery, and there's this description, this one guy won the lottery, huge jackpot. And the person who wrote a book on lottery winners and how they become degraded after they win all this money, he said he drives up to the house, and it's a big sprawling suburban house, like, $25 million house. And he said on the lawn there was a hungry-looking horse. Because, the guy just went out and bought anything. Let's get a horse. Yeah. We put him on the lawn. It's like it didn't feed him. He's just standing there looking hungry. And inside, there was a bunch of those, those games that you play in arcades? And the whole house was full of those things. And later on, the guy went broke and became really disconsolate. And so, unless people get Atmatattva Gyan, it doesn't matter what else they get, that they're not going to be happy. Life's a disappointment. 1, 2 for the close. 3.
Just a quick point, Prabhu, that Mel Robbins, she was mentioning in one of her TED talk that scientists also have made some experiments, and they have proved that the chance of being born at this time, in this world, at this place is 1 in 400 trillion. So she says that even you're a miracle. So
nice, yeah. Prabhupada gave this example, I think it's from ITM or from Purana, but he said, if you are born in human life and you get a bona fide guru, so he said, it's like a turtle, sea turtle in the middle of the ocean. And somehow or other there's a board floating on the ocean surface across the ocean. And then the turtle just comes up for air, and it just happens to come up the exact time when he puts his head through the knothole in the board, and he's able to get the air. So those are the chances of getting a human birth and getting a bona fide spiritual master. So you can ask her to calculate those odds as well on a numerical basis.
You said that schools don't really talk about the living and non-living thing.
Yeah. Was I wrong?
I don't know, because we did like in my science class.
Yeah.
It was like because we're studying cells, and so in our science class we did like a worksheet, and like we had to like categorize living, non-living, and like dead. And on like the whiteboard we had to write like what was the definition of non-living, what was the definition of living, and what was the definition of dead. And so yeah.
So what is it?
Our group did dead is something that's not living.
You know, that's a tautology. It's called circular.
And living is something that is alive or like breathing. And non-living is something that was just never living.
Well, the other ones are just totally circular logic. But the last thing he said that is never living, you could take off from that point, because from there you could discuss the point that there are energies that have different categories, and some are superior and some are inferior. This is how Krishna presents it in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, here are the inferior energies. Bhumirapo analovayu kamano buddhirevacha ahankara ityame bina prakritir ashtada. He said, beyond that, there's a different category. And he says, here's the superior energy. Apare mitastonyam prakritim vidime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam darite jagat. He says, above the separated lower material energies, there's the higher energy called the para prakriti. And that's what's making the material nature animated. And that's what gives it any significance at all, because if it wasn't for the superior nature, matter wouldn't matter. I mean, what is it? If there's no superior energy observing matter, it's unconscious, it's dead. So there has to be an observer for it to count. Yes?
Also, while we were doing that, we were categorizing from living, non-living, and dead. And we got one wrong, and that was a burger, because we put a burger in non-living. But really, the thing that struck me was the burger is actually dead. Because it was...
Because it was alive?
Yeah, because the patty was beef, and that was a cow. Like, the wheat was living once upon a time, so... That really grosses me out, because when you eat a burger, you're eating a dead thing. So,
yeah. Well, at least there is some philosophy going on in the school. 1, 2, 3. We got to hurry because we're over time now.
Okay, sorry. Just a quick point. When I was studying biology in school, I was at a Christian school, and so they had many different perspectives of how to define life, given the origination of the universe. And as they declassified from the body to organ system, and all the way to the cell, they said that science is never close enough, and as they come close to the cell, the concept of life just seeps through their fingers, and they're never able to define it.
Yeah.
And that was very profound, that it's something beyond what can be described in textbooks.
That's true, yeah. Okay, were there a couple more quick comments? 1, 2, then we'll have to stop because I have an appointment I have to make. Last 2. 1, 2.
Prabhu, my question is related to the temporariness of this material world. Krishna repeatedly says that this world is a place of duality. There is heat and cold, happiness and distress, day and night. So there are so many examples to explain the duality of this material world. So because of the duality of this material world, the world is temporary, or because of the material elements, this world is temporary. And then having understood that this material world is temporary, and also in Srimad Bhagavatam it talks about phantasmagoria. Can we, is it sometimes in life we fail? Is it absolutely fine if we even fail in life sometimes?
Do The question is it okay if we fail in life because the material world's unreal? Well, it depends what your definition of failure is. If one understands the ultimate goal of life is to reconnect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is endeavoring for that, and that is the ultimate goal. Everything else short of that, Bhagavatam says, is a kind of failure. Dharma projita kaitavo taraparamom nirmatsaranam satam. No matter how successful you are in organizing the energy around you, the inferior energy, it's a kind of failure at the end because you didn't really do anything. But if you make a little progress towards Krishna consciousness, towards Krishna, then that's success. And even if you fall back, Bhagavatam says, there's no loss. Tyaktva sudharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajana pakvo tato yadi yatarkva babadrama abura mushyakim kovarta apto bhajatam sudharmata. If you tried for it in Krishna consciousness, but you didn't make it all the way, that said no loss. Because you get forward progress, you'll take it up later. So there's no failure ultimately in Krishna consciousness. But in material life, no matter how successful you are, it's all failure. We'll have to leave it there because time's running short, and I still have appointments to make, and I'm still packing, believe it or not, because I'm leaving on Monday and going away for 5 weeks, I believe, to Vrindavan. First to Vrindavan for a few days, and then we'll be at Govardhan. This year we'll be reading the whole Krishna book, Krishna willing, and then the 8th and 9th cantos. And I'll be in Tirupati for a few days, the 15th, 16th, 17th. Not that I wanted to leave Vrindavan, but there's a meeting down there that I have to go to. It's mandatory. So I'm going down there. And my friend Divyanga Prabhu, who hasn't been to India, I think, in 30 years or something like that, is going to join me at Govardhan this year. And I'm going to miss you all very, very, very much. It's really hard, actually, leaving the Bay Area with my heart and soul, all of you. And the idea of developing more and more the Bay Area, I got really encouraged by Anantadev last night. He was saying, what I always like to think about, this is the prime place for expanding the Krishna consciousness movement. Don't worry that it's expensive. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Let's make it work somehow. And stay here and expand the Krishna consciousness movement because it'll make a huge difference here. Some of the best people in the world are here. Some of the best spiritual movements are coming here. And here, the most open-minded people are here in the Bay Area. So we should make a huge stand here in the Bay Area and really consider how to make it the practice of Krishna consciousness prominent in the lives of people here in the Bay Area, because then it'll spread to many other places all over the world. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. Thank you very much for all that you're doing. I'll be here tomorrow, but the fact is that what you're doing here, cooperating and doing jnana tapasa, this is right on target. You're doing everything right. So please keep doing it. Expand the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatams. Put books together in huge stacks. Make sure that unlimited books go out. Don't hold back at all. The members of the Panchatattva, they plundered the storehouse of love of God and distributed and ate its contents. And the more they distributed, the more it increased. So think really, really, really big. And try to just smash goals. And don't hold back on any level, either in your personal practice or expanding the Krishna consciousness movement. Every person you meet, think that this person is the next link to helping us come to a much bigger level in Krishna consciousness. It always happens. Like Srila Prabhupada got George Harrison. There were other people stepped in, that big Bagh Bazar temple that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, one man came and he said, okay, I'll do the whole thing. So just remember that every single person you meet is the next link to expanding the Krishna consciousness movement and giving them the greatest respect for their interest in Krishna consciousness and try to foster it more and more. Gaur Premanande Haribo, Vanchakop Durvishcha, Kripasindavevacha, Patitanam, Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Nantagori Vaishnaviniki Jai. And now we're going to roll up this carpet. We're going to have a Guru Puja. The kids can come out and they won't cry anymore because we're going to have Kirtan. And thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thanks to everyone who joined us online from various places around the world. Please say Hare Krishna.